So today we have Neil Turk from the band Top Shelf Liquors. Neil's going to talk a little bit about the new EP that Top Shelf Liquors have coming out, Generation Text, and a bit about his life in music. So thanks for coming in, Neil.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
So you will be the inaugural recorded audio interview that we're going to put up on Loudhiller, which is great. I wanted to start a little bit. So you're originally from Cleveland, and I wanted to start the interview by just talking about you growing up and how you got into music. Were you from a musical family?
So, well, that's a whole other story in itself. I'll try to not make this crazy long. So I have a twin sister.
Yeah.
I have a set of twin brothers. I have an older brother, a younger sister. I was only raised with my twin sister. My grandma adopted me and my twin sister when we were a couple weeks old. Okay. So I've never met my mother or my father. Okay. Which I didn't know we were going to dive into this, but this is good. This is good.
There's an opening one for you.
This is all good.
Yeah.
But I came from one of those, typical drug addict, parents are drug addicts into bad stuff, and it would have been dangerous for us to be brought up in that environment. Yeah. And we were blessed that weeks old, our grandmother on my mother's side adopted us and saved us pretty much, because probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. So, as far as my parents go, I don't know much about them. But my grandma is, who I call my mom. Yeah. She is a piano player, singer. So we grew up with the piano in the house, and I don't know. I don't know if it. I mean, it kind of runs in the family. I definitely have cousins and stuff that play, but it wasn't pushed on us or anything. There was always a piano there. I would hear music. My mom was part of the choir, and whenever I say mom from now on, it's my grandma, just so you know. Was always singing in the choir and played piano and stuff. And I even have pictures of me as a kid, kind of like reaching up to the piano and trying to play. Yeah. And I noodled around with it early on, but it wasn't until I was like in, I think, the end of 7th grade, because up to that point, as far as music goes, I went to a private Catholic school, and back then everybody was like into rap and stuff, and like I tried to listen to that stuff and get into it, but I wasn't allowed to listen to it. Like I wasn't, the stuff that people were listening to, I would bring home, and I wasn't allowed. Like Snoop Dogg, Warren G, stuff that I wanted to, and my grandma was so strict that no, you can't listen to that. And but I would say by 7th grade, I think we started discovering like alternative rock. And I'm going to also bring in, I'll mention my cousin in a little bit, my cousin Anthony, but I would say around 7th grade, I started getting into like Green Day and Rage Against the Machine and Weezer. And most of my weekends, we grew up in the city of Cleveland, like not in a great neighborhood. We weren't allowed to walk around the neighborhood because my mom's super strict. And we went to school 2 blocks away for grade school, and we still had to get dropped off every day. So on the weekends, we were kind of saved. My Aunt Mary would take us out to the suburbs, and I would hang out with my cousin Anthony, and my sister would hang out with his sister Carly. And me and my cousin Anthony together, I would say a game changer for us was honestly discovering Green Day. And then we're like, what is this kind of music, And that kind of opened up, because up to that point, I didn't know what I was into. I didn't know, and at that point, we'd found like our identity. Like we were into skateboarding and all that, and then the punk rock kind of just went along with that. And so, I mean, and we at the time, before we ever had instruments, and there's videos around of this which are super embarrassing. We were like, I had a cardboard guitar cut out, like Billy Joe with the writing like from Green Day, and so my cousin Anthony would play like pots and pans for like the drums. Yeah. And then I had we spray paint our hair, put on dog chains around our neck, chain wallets, all that stuff, which at first was like, my mom was like, oh, you're not wearing a chain wallet. But my aunt was always the one that kind of let us. My cousin was allowed to get away with a little more, so hanging out with him, I was able to get a chain wallet, leather jacket. We're air guitaring to Green Day and stuff, making videos, and which I hope that those are destroyed. I know that they're somewhere on a VHS, but eventually, we always. I wanted to play guitar and sing, and my cousin wanted to play drums. And then one year for, I believe it was Christmas, we were at my cousin's house, and we got brought downstairs to go get chairs or something. They tricked us, and we go downstairs, and there's a drum set, a guitar, and an amp.
Oh, nice.
And I had And we had no idea this was coming. We obviously said we wanted the stuff, didn't have jobs, couldn't buy it. But so I had a PV Falcon, which I still have with the little PV amp. Yeah. And my cousin, I'm sure those drums are long gone. But from that point, we just started. We're like, all right, we're going to be a band. We're going to start playing music. No lessons, either of us. And we just started. I just started trying to write songs and sing, and I couldn't do either. Yeah. And we just formed a band.
So were you writing right from the beginning, like trying to write?
Yeah, yes, tried. This is before I even actually knew chords yet and stuff. Yeah. But we would just try, and then shortly, I don't know, maybe a month or two, we probably had a band a week later. But we were calling ourselves Atrophy. Yeah. But the A was the anarchy sign, and the dude in the O was like a spiky-haired, blue-haired guy, and that was short-lived. We didn't do that long. We recruited a bass player. We wanted to do a 3-piece thing, and we did a couple of talent shows and played like an old folks home for these seniors one time. Like, we did a couple of things, and we actually started really playing under that name, I believe, like a Battle of the Bands. I believe we still use that name at a place in Cleveland called Peabody's, which I might still be around. But then that first year was just experimenting and trying to get better, and at some point we just started getting it. And the first band we actually became like a real band. We called ourselves the Atomics, and it's ATOMIX with that same face, the O with the spiky hair guy. And that's when we actually became like a band, and I felt like we were actually learning how to write songs. And I discovered power chords and realized that with punk rock, that's really all you need. And once I started realizing like the stuff we're listening to and Green, like that stuff's really easy, just distortion and power chords. And I would say learning how to properly play power chords is what was a game changer. Yeah. And then from that point on, we started gigging around, playing shows and doing that. And then, and I'll skip around here. Yeah. We did that for years. And then I would say towards the end of high school, and by the way, too, my cousin Anthony Zart is an incredible artist. He does all our artwork. Okay. But he turned out to be an incredible drummer. And he's, like I said, we're both self-taught. Yeah. But I would say
you still get together with the Atomics, right? When you go home to Cleveland
I think we did it 3 or 4 years. This last year we didn't do it, but we did a couple of reunion shows, and we hadn't played in 16, 17 years, and we did like 3 in a row of that, and we had great turnouts, and these songs are still cool even after, and it's like you still remember it after all this time, which is crazy. But so we still do bring the Atomics back here and there, and we have like 8 bass players in the Atomics. So we actually started numbering some of them, but we went back to I think our second bass player, Justice, and he ended up playing. He's like our bass player now when we do shows, which is like I said maybe once a year. But so after the Atomics, and then I went in. I started a band, I know it had been around 2001 or 2, called the Potato Bugs. Yeah. And we released something in 2003. And I remember what was funny about that album, we went to Cleveland at, what's the name of the studio? Can't think of it. But the dude from Warrant, Billy Morris was there at the studio, and he like came in and he sang backup vocals on one of our songs.
Oh, really?
He did that Cherry Pie song. Yeah. That was like, I remember at the time, like, whoa, we got like a celebrity in here, and he like sang some background vocals on that. And like, Lava Room Studios, that's what it was. And I don't know if that's around, but I still listen to that once in a while. I'll pull out that CD. I'm like, man, this was like solid stuff. And that's when we were kind of getting in. After Green Day, I skipped this part that that was like a gateway into like NoFX and Pennywise and Casualties and all these other bands that we didn't know existed. Yeah. And I could still remember, as I wear a NoFX shirt, hearing NoFX at first, I was like, this guy's voice is kind of weird. And, now I would say that some of my stuff is in that vein of that. It's got just the nasally high kind of vocal thing. But like I said, that was the gateway. So at that point, I'd say Potato Bugs were like a NoFX influence kind of pop punk thing. Yeah. But yeah, so we did that. And then I don't know how many years later, I decided I wanted to get into acoustic guitar and harmonica, and I started getting into like Neil Young and Bob Dylan, and so I started. Then I'm like, I'm going to start a new project. So it was just Neil Turk and the Intentions, and the Intentions thing was I was always like, I was dating this girl, and I was always messing shit. Am I allowed to swear now?
Yeah, you can swear.
Always fucking shit up. I was getting fucked up all the time, and I was like, I had good intentions. So I was saying that all the time. And at the same time, I had revolving band members and stuff. So I'm like, I think that'd be a cool name for a band. Just the intentions. It kind of leaves it loose and open to anyone that kind of just wants to play and has the intentions,
Yeah.
So I released an album. I went to a studio called Suma back in the day, which closed already. And James Gain recorded there, and a whole bunch of like awesome bands from back in the day. They had like a really beautiful grand piano, or I don't know what kind of piano, a real piano there. And so that CD I did called Roll With It, which that's out still on Spotify and stuff. It was very piano heavy, but like really good piano player, and had a really good lead guitar player and stuff. But so I went and did that, and then at that point, I'm not sure how many years. This is just an estimate. After a couple of years of doing that, I eventually throughout this whole time I was in the restaurant business working and bartending and stuff. I eventually got a job in Chicago. I got offered a job in Chicago with bartending, and I knew there was a better music scene here and stuff.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was just kind of loosely doing the intentions and nothing serious. Didn't have a serious girlfriend at the time, and I kind of always knew I wanted to get out of Cleveland, and I had an opportunity to transfer here with the job and get this. And so I'm like, I came to visit once, and I was like, oh, I like it here. And now this is 10 and a half years later.
Yeah.
But so I just moved out here, and then I was still trying to do the intentions thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't really working out too well here. And with the new job, and just a lot going on that it was just, I couldn't get that really going. And also part of the thing, I was drinking heavily through all this stuff as I got older.
Yeah.
Once I got out of high school, I started getting into drinking a lot and dabbling with drugs a little bit, but mainly drinking. Like I was like drinking all the time. And so that interfered with some stuff of me moving to Chicago at first. So nothing was working out, and that had a lot to do with it. And about a year and a half into Chicago, I was debating of moving back home because I was in between apartments, and it just seemed like things weren't working.
Yeah.
And then I decided, I'm like, maybe I should get sober and quit drinking. And so I tried a couple times, didn't work. And I eventually started going to AA meetings. Long story short, I got sober, and then I started a band. My life started coming together after that.
Was there a trigger for it that made you decide that this is enough?
I was a daily drinker, easily 10 cocktails a day, easily smoking weed all day, dabbling with Coke and other stuff, but mainly drinking all the time. And it was really fun in my 20s, and writing. It was fun getting all messed up and writing songs, and then eventually it's a depressant, and when you're drinking hard liquor every single day. And when you're not drinking it, you start really feeling like shit and like depressed, and like I felt it was so fun in my early 20s, and it got to the point where I'm like, this sucks. Like I feel horrible with it, and like I said, being in a new city, a new job, and things weren't working, and like the drinking on top of it is just, it was becoming a miserable experience, and I just kept drinking to feel normal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got to do something about this, and like I was gonna move back home because that seemed like the thing to do, and then I decided, I'm going to give this city a shot sober and see what it's like, because I didn't even get to go out and explore and do stuff because you either at a bar or sitting at home just getting fucked up. I didn't get to go out and see, so I didn't even know if I liked Chicago yet. And then, so I finally, like I said, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I started going to AA meetings, and I got sober, and then all of a sudden things started getting better. I got a better apartment. And I found guys to play with me, and then I started a band called Top Shelf Liquors, and it's Lickers. And when I was at a studio back in Cleveland, that I used to I had a buddy, and I'd get wasted at his studio. I would stay there, sleep over. He had an extra room, and I would bring over like a gallon of vodka, and like, oh my god, it was. And then I would try to, all right, we're gonna record songs, this and that. But anyways, I'd already quit, and I told him I was like gonna start a new name, and he's like, what about Top Shelf Liquors, but you spell it Liquors, Lick. I'm like, oh yeah, it could be like guitar licks, it could be any kind of licks, wherever you want to go with it, And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. So I started that band in Chicago, and I finally got a group of guys that wanted to play. And the irony of the name is, since I've had that name of a band, I've been sober. So I've never, anything that's associated with that name, I've been a sober person, and even though it references drinking or whatever. So, so that would have been probably this band's probably been going for like 8 years. And finally got in the studio, started recording, putting out EPs and stuff. And
that first iteration, you had Murr, right? Who's really well known in the Chicago. Or was he in straight away? He was the second?
The second one, yeah.
As a guitarist, yeah.
We had one before that called Head First.
Yeah.
Which I don't love. I actually took it off Spotify and stuff.
Yeah.
I just, we didn't... The songs are pretty good, but the quality is like, it's okay. Like, it can be found, and we sell those CDs at the show still sometimes, but I'm not super into it, so I kind of like made it...
Just the production kind of...
Yeah, the production wasn't like great on it and stuff. And that was when I was new here. I didn't know about different studios. And, but then the next EP is when we really, really became like a solid band, and Murr was part of that band. And we went to Atlas Studios, which is like no longer, but huge band, Alkaline Trio, Lawrence Arms, Menzingers, everyone recorded there. And which before I lived here, I didn't realize that all these bands were recording here.
Yeah.
And so we went and booked that studio for the Heartbeats Brain session, and we ended up pressing that to vinyl, and that was like when you really started. I felt like we really gelled as a band. The songwriting's better, the production quality got night and day difference. And
that's a really we were talking about this before, that's a really up record, right? It's a very like energetic and
it's bright, like, and even the artwork, like once again Anthony's art did that art, like super bright colors, and the guitar tones are bright on that one. And so I feel like that was a turning point for us. And we did a Kickstarter that was successful, and we were able to press the vinyl, because it was like, it's really expensive to do that. So that was the first time doing that, and that it all went well, and we raised more money than we asked for, and we were able to press it on white vinyl and stuff. So
I've got that album.
Yeah. And I still have copies, so we're still selling those. You know?
And it's kind of like Kickstarter is being a really big thing for bands, I guess, these days, because otherwise how do you get it moving?
And some of these bigger guys, like well-known people, are doing it, and they're getting thousands of dollars, and
also to get there you must have had a decent fan base at the time to get to the point where you could kick it off and record an album and press it to vinyl.
Well, actually, in the bar I was working at, I had a lot of regulars that were like family, and to be honest, I didn't even reach out to my family and stuff a lot, because I don't like asking. First, I don't even like asking for money doing Kickstarter. But we did it. I was uncomfortable. I'm like, let's just do it, because otherwise we're not going to be able to put a record out. And I just reached out to a lot of the bar patrons that I was regularly seeing all the time, and with their help, like, we raised all the money. Awesome. So I didn't have to like bug a whole bunch of people, like if you haven't talked to somebody in a while, like, hey man, like even a relative, like, hey, you want to like donate some money? These were people every day in my life I was seeing. And I got a way better response than expected. And then we had even more money, and we were able to press the vinyl and stuff. And so,
So then after that, I guess, because the first album was around 2014, I want to say.
I think that's... Because then
2014.
So the one before that, then the Head First one was probably 2012. And we at that and that one we had a really good guitar player who put the name Lickers in the band name. Jay Ziegler was our lead guitar player, and he just could shred. That was like the highlight of probably the first CD. Was
his play.
He was incredible.
And then so then 2016, Heartbreak City was an EP you put out. Which was a bit of a departure from the first one, because it was dark. Certainly Hidden Inside. that is a dark song.
So that Hidden Inside song, I always say this is about taking somebody hostage in your basement, and keeping them locked up, you're obsessed with them, you love them. But I remember hearing a news story. It was actually about some guy in Cleveland who he got, I don't know, 2 or 3 girls, and he had them locked up.
He kept them locked in the house. Right?
And that kind of inspired the song. And because I actually don't want to do that, but but that was the inspiration behind the song. And that's what I'll keep you hidden inside. And it's if you don't know the story, it sounds like I'm pretty crazy and a psycho and stuff. But it was all I just heard a little bit about it on the news, and I'm like, I'm gonna write a song about that. And I'd say the overall tone of that EP is definitely darker. Like, our guitar tones were darker. I don't know if it was planned to be like that. It just kind of turned out.
Came out.
And it was just darker. Even the artwork is darker, like a dark brown. And
I guess maybe it's just what's going on around you at the time as well probably influences you when you're writing those songs. Because, that's just a dark topic, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
And even Heartbreak City.
Yeah.
But Heartbreak City is not about us being heartbroken. That's actually about, like, taking another guy's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, which... I've been guilty of doing some stuff like that years ago, but I would never, I don't condone that. But just taking a girl right out from some guy,
Yeah.
But that's what pretty much Heartbreak City is about. Is like Heartbreak City for them, not us, Yeah. But overall, like I said, that was definitely just a darker vibe.
Yeah. And then I remember talking to you about For Rock and Roll, because I remember when you were writing that EP and you saying it was about, people saying, "Oh, you're in a band. That's great. I'll come down and see you guys," and then them not turning up at the place.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's everybody. Oh yeah, I'm going to your next show.
Yeah.
That's one of the lines. Send me an invite on Facebook. I promise I'll be there. Yeah. And that part of that song was also inspired by like talent buyers and stuff.
Yeah.
I've dealt with talent buyers that are not the nicest people.
Yeah.
Where it's all about the money. It doesn't matter if you're good. It doesn't matter. It's like, hey man, how many tickets can you sell? It's like, who do you even know me? I've encountered a couple of talent buyers that just left a really bad taste in my mouth about the music scene. It's like, it makes you not even want to be part of it,
Yeah.
And I've also encountered some really nice ones. Yeah. But that's what For Rock and Roll is like. Yeah, just the money. It's just a number, and you selling tickets, and so that's what that was about. And then the other half of the song is about people saying they're going to be there. They don't show up.
So the new album is So first off, I think Generation Text, the title track, is available on Spotify now.
Yes, it is.
Yep. And that one, Generation Text, the title kind of gives it away. About what
that's pretty obvious. Yeah. Like everybody in their selfies, and I mean, I'm guilty of using my phone. I try to make a point to not be on it like crazy, though. Like my fiance has an old school phone. Yeah. She's not on Facebook, not into any of this stuff. So especially around her, I really try to minimize how much I'm on my phone. But I'm guilty of it, like waking up, checking email. But this is kind of like the people that are just obsessed, and they got to Instagram everything they eat. They got to do. Look at my vacation.
Look at me.
this,
I'm running in the street.
It's like Jesus Christ. It's man.
Yeah.
And it's like what blows my mind. There's like a line in there: $600 phone. You still live at home. Like these like spoiled brats that, and phones now are $1,000. They're not even $600.
Yes.
These spoiled brats that they don't have jobs. They don't have. I'm like talking the lyrics. They don't have job. They live at home and they don't never worked a day in their life, but they're on their phones and they're like obsessed with social media. It's not good. It's not healthy, and it's only going to get worse. And so this is kind of poking fun at the times we're living in now.
And people live through it, like, and it's like people talk about this all the time, right? Live music, but it fucking pisses me off when I'm there if someone in front of me has just got their phone up for the entire show, like recording it, because what are you even going to do with that recording? Yeah. Like if you're in a live venue, the sound's gonna be shit. You can't see anyone on the stage. Just watch the show and enjoy it, like have an experience rather than trying to save it as a shitty experience that you can watch later on.
And they're just going to post it anyways.
Let's post it up to show I was there. Well, congratulations. You just put a picture up or something. Yeah.
And I'll admit, I've been guilty of like, if I'm at a show posting a picture and stuff.
Yeah, I'll put
and
a
then
picture
you see if you get like, and I don't even like getting sucked into that. Like even more recently, like I'll go stuff. I'll go on vacation and do stuff. I will make a point to not even post.
Yeah.
On Facebook, as far as Facebook knows, I'm single. I'm engaged though, but that stuff doesn't matter because that's not even a topic me and my fiance talk about. We try to leave that part of our life out.
Yeah.
And that also eliminated a lot of drama out of my life because I've been in relationships where social media affects relationships and you're fighting over stuff. But I made a point to like, I'll go to Mexico or do stuff and like sometimes, I mean, not that I've never posted when I travel, but like recently I'm like, I'll go do stuff and I'm like, I'm just going to experience it and make a point not to post it and just experience it with my mind, and that's it. I don't need approval from anybody. I'm just
with mine as well. And like my show, if I go to a show and I want to put something on social media, my pictures are really shitty because I'll take a picture of the stage before the band come on, because once they're on, I just want to watch a show. So it's like, so all my
get distracted. If
terrible.
And I've done it too, where you'll miss. It's your favorite song, but then you're actually missing it.
Yeah.
So and you're like, why did I even do that? But you live and you learn, and you try to do it less and less,
Yeah, and then so I think what I noticed about like this album for me or EP is it's like a mix. So it's up again, a bit like the first album, Heartbeats Brain.
Yeah.
But then it does go up and down in the tracks. So the third track, Gone, was like just from the minute that opens, the guitar tone on that track is like much muddier and it's like a darker feel.
Yeah.
But that's a good song. I don't know if you want to talk a bit about that one.
Like, yeah, so Gone is pretty much, you know, I feel like everybody nowadays, there's this big epidemic with heroin and stuff. And, I mean, just drugs in general, but I feel like everybody knows somebody that's died of like an overdose of some kind. I've had a relative I lost. Like I said, still come in. So part of that song was about like, you know, you've got to want to change, and a lot of people don't, and it's too late. They're already gone. And part of that song was written too, I think, about my birth parents and like my mom specifically, my birth mom specifically. You know, I'm pretty sure to this day she's still a user, and there's a line in that. What is the second verse? I'm blanking hard here. The second verse, it's
You gotta want to change?
No, it's after that.
Days seem like years.
Oh yeah, days seem like years. You hold in your tears. Your kids wonder why you were never there.
Yeah.
Daddy is working for another fix. Mommy is crying on the corner turning tricks. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's the way I envision. You know, a little bit. I had my birth mom in mind a little bit. Not that she's on the corner turning tricks. I hope not. But maybe that's the extreme end of it. But that is happening. Yeah. And there. It's really sad that there are parents that aren't there for their kids. Yeah. And if they are there, they're still using, and it's like a scary, horrible thing to have that kind of addiction. Yeah. And you know, my thing was alcohol, and that was tough. But like I feel like heroin and stuff is another level. And you know, you got celebrities dying, and what's the fentanyl? Fentanyl. It's just like, and I feel like everyone I know knows at least 1 to 5 people that have died.
Well, me, I've had direct experience, and it was alcohol, like with someone really close to me who died. But it's like the frustrating thing about it as well is it is an illness. When it gets to that point, it's an illness. You know, if you're drinking that much a day that it's going to kill you, you obviously don't want to kill yourself. Like, I don't think. I mean, you might feel like you do at some point, or if you're using heroin, but it's a genuine illness, but it alienates everybody around you as well. That's the problem, because they're like, why are you being so selfish? Well, no, someone's not being selfish. They literally can't stop themselves. That's a problem with it.
And I feel like that stuff, I mean, alcohol's one, and some people are that deep into alcohol too, and that's tough, but I feel like the opiate stuff is even another level.
I think it's another level.
I mean, it's all bad, but that's like, you can drink yourself to death, but it's a lot easier to shoot up to death or snort or to, you know, so that's kind of just what Gone's about. It's like someone that didn't, well, I said you got to want to change, but you got to want it really bad. Really, really bad, and you got to change, and a lot of people don't, and that's why it's too late. You're already gone, you know?
So, and I think like going through then, It Lifts Again, Be My Girl is like a really up song, which is just kind of a good fun song. I felt like that was a really nice one. Was that about anyone in particular? Were you thinking about anyone in particular? Or was it
and actually when I write songs, I might have one going, I'm like ADD, so I might have like a verse or a sentence is about one thing's about another. That's kind of about my current fiance. Like one of the parts, like, you left your black dress on my bedroom floor, you left your high heels too. That was like, after I remember early on when we were dating, she left her stuff over my house, and I was like, I'm gonna write that about her. And so I think I wrote that with her in mind. And the beginning was like, hey, cutie, where are you going? It's just like kind of meeting a girl. And so, because I met her bartending, and I was at the bar. And she came up, and I pretty much, where are you from?
Literally like
that's that. Kind of, so you guys can use that for like to pick up girls, use some of those lyrics. But so that one, I guess, now that I'm talking about it, was mainly had her in mind, I'd say. And it's got like a lighter, fun, happy vibe, and because I don't do a lot of love songs per se and stuff, and so I was like, let's put something a little bit different on there,
And when you're so it's a mix, really, I guess, of you like writing about what's going on around you, and then writing from personal experience. Do you put some time aside to write? Is that how you do it, or does it something just come to you and then you go and write it down?
No, it usually just comes to me. I don't because sometimes when I sit down and try to do it, it's hard. But sometimes ideas will be specifically. I remember from Heartbeats Brain, Deadbeat Dad. I can remember driving, just singing, "Don't want to be a deadbeat dad," and I just did a voice memo of that. And then I went back to it eventually, and then wrote a whole song around that. Yeah. And for me, I usually find that I write the chorus first, and then I fill in the rest.
And build it out.
And you know, some people are totally opposite, but a lot of times it'll just be like a random riff or a phrase I'll think of. Yeah. And then I'll either text myself or just make a voice memo of a phrase or a melody, and then I'll kind of go back to it. But if I just sit down saying, "All right, I'm just gonna write a song from scratch today," that's usually tough. But if I have an idea started, then I can be like, "Oh yeah, let me go finish. I'll check a note. I'm like, all right, let me work on that today." Yeah. And usually starting, like I said, with the chorus or something makes it easier, and then I could usually write the whole song. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes it's one day. Yeah. Sometimes I'll have just random loose ideas that have been around for a year or two, and then I finally get around. I'm like, oh, okay, this was meant to be because now I get it, or you know. But every song is different though. But I just kind of let the inspiration come to me, and a lot of the stuff I write is just like it'll be about like stuff I don't like, or I'm like,
I was gonna say you don't like sports.
Speaking of things I don't like,
but it's funny. There's a couple of lines in here, and I remember me and you being in your car. Well, so like full disclosure, Neil and I are friends as well, and like I've played a bit of guitar for him in with the intentions, but I remember us being in the car driving over there, and I wonder if you were writing this song at the time, because there was guys in watching a football game in one of the bars, and you were talking to me about how you were thinking for a song because it used to piss you off that people would use that as an excuse to start day drink, and you'd be like, God, why? If you want to have a drink in the morning, just say I want to have a drink in the morning. Don't use the sports as an excuse.
Exactly. Like cause when I drink, I'm like, hey, I wake up, I'm alive today. Fuck it, I'm gonna start partying. Why not? And I feel like people use so this song, "I Hate Sports," is like, first of all, I like to play basketball. I'll play softball. Yeah. I don't literally hate everything about it, but this song is for people that like to get blacked out drunk and fight. Yeah. And all in the name of sports, you know, especially getting violent. There's no excuse. Like, but it happens, man. People are fighting at a bar. Like, people are fighting other fans. And it's like, dude, and that's the lyrics. Like, you're not even playing the game. Like, what's in it? You know, like, what? It's not that life changing. And, or, you know, some people, their lives are over. Like, oh my God, they lost last night, dude. They come in the next day all hungover and pissed off at the world. It's like, dude, it's a game that you didn't even play. Like, get over it, you know? Yeah. And to me, I just can't comprehend that.
I mean, you should. The thing is, when I was thinking about it, like in the UK, sometimes with football, or soccer as it is over here, like it's a whole other level. When Kirsten and I arrived in Chicago, we went to the Crosstown Classic game, the Cubs White Sox, and as we were walking to Wrigley Field, I was saying to Kirsten, I was like, I wonder where they'll put the White Sox fans in Wrigley, like thinking that they would separate them in a separate section, because in the UK, if you put like Sunderland, where I'm from, the Sunderland-Newcastle game, the fans are fenced into a separate section. So if Newcastle fans come to Sunderland, they get bussed in, escorted by the police, put into a separate section, then they hold them in there after the game. Otherwise, people just fight. I mean, if you put everybody in like they do at Wrigley or in an American football game over here, like they would just fight. Yeah, and it is. I get where you're coming from because it's nuts. I mean,
so it maybe happens less here, but it happens, and it happens in other parts of the world. And it's like you're not physically playing the game, so why get so bent out of shape about it? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's and that was an easy one to write. You know, so it's just stuff that bugs me or I don't like. I'm just like, no, I'll just write a song about it. And those are the ones that like write it themselves. Like, you know, super easy. You know,
like cathartic as well. Like, I'm gonna get this off my chest.
Yeah. And I feel better about it now. I'm like,
cool. So I mean, I really enjoyed the album. So as I said, like title track's out now on Spotify. Yeah. And whatever other platform you listen to. And then I guess you've got a live show coming up.
Yes, we're gonna be. Well, actually, and before that, the date's coming up. I have July 6th is the EP will be officially out everywhere. Yeah, all digital platforms, and then
and that's also an anniversary for you.
And July actually, so I planned it. July 6th will be my 9 years sober.
Congratulations!
So, thank you. So I wanted to I wanted to have that come out on a day that I'm going to remember. So July 6th will be the official release of Generation Text. Yeah. And then July 12th, we're playing at Reggie's with HR from Bad Brains.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's our next show we got going on, and yeah, I'm really stoked about playing again. We haven't played in a minute. We've just been trying to get this out, and so yeah, I'm excited, man.
Excellent, thanks so much. And we'll put up a link to Spotify and to your page on there with the title track and everything, and that will be there. So thanks very much for coming in and talking about it. And we'll catch up with you down the road. Well, we'll be at the live show as well, probably, so maybe we'll cover that.
Cool, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.